Emails from your server, so
yes.
We'll see how this is wholesome.
Here we go.
Awesome new manager breaks cycle with homeless guy outside. Okay. My old manager was a real working for the weekend type and never went out of their way for us or the customers no matter what. We had a homeless guy who camped out in our back alley because a lot of heat comes off a vent back there. One of the most difficult things about her was that she'd always make us toss him out because he was visible to customers from the main entrance. She's gone and we have a new manager now. Her first week, one of the employees said, "Hey, that guy's back." And the new manager said, "Is this guy here often?" And we told her the whole story. She asked what our interactions with him had been like, and we told her perfectly pleasant considering the circumstances. She walks out, shakes the guy's hand, and offers him a dishwashing job on a trial basis. She had one of the bus boys help him get cleaned up and put him right to work. He knocked it out of the park, made good on his money, and got staff dinner. She told him he was welcome to come back to work any night of the week, and if he was consistent, she'd see about getting him hired. That was 2 weeks ago, and he started on a permanent basis today. And an edit to add, I can't believe how this post is blown up. I just showed it to him, and he was honestly a bit freaked out by the whole thing, but touched by the incredible support and personal stories people shared. Now that he has a job, he's been able to move back in with his brother and is saving up all the money he makes here. He's a month clean and says things are going better now than they have been in a long time. He says thanks again. Damn.
I'm getting full body chills.
That is the sweetest story I've ever heard.
That might be my favorite story I've ever heard on this show.
Same. That's what you're supposed to do.
I know.
Oh.
I love this.
What? How sweet. And then she showed in the post.
I know.
Why are you guys looking at me?
I just love that you're
There's nothing to say.
Yeah, I know. Wow.
This is even better than WAP pizza. Or whatever.
What?
Yes. All right, here we go. I talked to the dead first husband of my wife and my stepdaughter.
And?
Okay. I met Helena almost 2 decades ago. It was a party at a lake for the local university. We liked each other, but our lives were very, very different. I was finishing school that year and had to do my year of civic duty, something we don't have anymore. With that, I would go to university far away. She didn't finish school, but started working early. I lived in a small town with my mother, and she already had her own apartment in a really rundown district of a huge city. Things just didn't work out. We kept in contact over the years, but I wouldn't say we were friends. We were people who liked to catch up via text or phone every 6 to 10 months. When I was home, we hooked up. But this stopped when she met her soon-to-be husband. I can't tell you anything about him because I never met him in person. They fell in love, got married, and Helena got pregnant with a daughter. They were happy together. I didn't really care. I thought it was sad that we didn't talk anymore, but I understood. I wasn't as lucky as her when it came to relationships. If you read my comments to other posts, you will see that I had my fair share of problems. I kind of accepted that I would never have a family, a stable relationship, or at least more than 3 days in a row of not being depressed. Let's say alcohol isn't the best idea in such a situation. At least I was high functioning. I did really well in university and started a career. It brought me back to my home region. I hadn't heard from Helena in several years. What I didn't know was that my life was a cakewalk compared to hers at this time. Helena's husband was killed in a car crash. Some asshole was driving under the influence and thought he could make the turn before her husband would pass. It wasn't me, but it was one more argument for me to stop drinking. I never asked for more details. She doesn't like this topic, so I try to respect it. She couldn't handle what happened and ended up in a clinic for her mental health. Her daughter was with her mother at the time. The day she was released, she had her own car crash. Turns out the doctors weren't joking when they told her she shouldn't drive with the drugs they were giving her. She went back to the clinic. Then she saw on Facebook that I was back in town. She wrote me and I answered. I visited her. She liked that I wasn't cursing at her for driving drunk. I didn't think I had the right to do it, given my love of alcohol. I won't bore you with the details of how it proceeded. We married and built a house together. Her daughter didn't like me at first, but we bonded the second I bought a PS5. She is a gamer. We jokingly say the gamer gene comes from me. Neither her mom nor her dad liked it, but my wife has gotten really good at pretending though. But I returned the favor by pretending I like horses. My stepdaughter, Leah, calls me by my first name. I like it. From what I heard, she had an amazing dad, and I never wanted to be a father. I don't think I would be a good one. I told her that I don't wish to replace her dad. She refused to believe me until one day when I told her that I would need the PS5 the whole evening, and she would need to use her PS4 in her room to play Minecraft with her friends. She said something along the lines of, good parents would share the console. I reminded her that I'm not her parent. She started laughing. Her mom hates me for that, because she needs to be the one setting all the rules. I understand that some of you probably think I should help Helena and not just be the everything goes stepdad, but Leah accepts me and she feels at home in our house. Her mom continues to do an amazing job raising her. I think I do best by respecting her and demanding respect when it comes to my stuff. Leah knows she can ask me for advice, and I am far better in helping with her homework than her mother. Every year, they visit Leah's father's grave on the day the accident happened. At first, I asked her if she wanted me out of the house for the day, because I can understand they need the hours for themselves. On the third year, they asked me to drive them. I waited in the car. We went to the restaurant afterwards. It was very silent. I had no idea what to talk about. The thing is, I am incredibly happy. I was gifted with a family that I love. I had given up on believing I could ever have this. I really had. But I feel incredible guilt. A good man had to die for my happiness. So once every 3 months, I visit his grave on my own and talk to him. They don't know this, and I have no intention of telling them. I thank him, and I tell him about his wife and his daughter, and his parents, if I happen to know something about them. They have trouble with me. They are cordial, but I can see it in their faces when I drop my daughter off or come and get her. It shouldn't be me who does it, and nothing will ever change that. Today is the day they will visit him, after they're out of work/school. I think I will visit him the next day and tell him about this post. Tell him that other people knew he existed and that he did an amazing job. Thanks, dear reader, for reading until here. I hope it wasn't too weird. I'm not sure if I will answer any questions. Writing about me feeling guilty because of his death already feels really hard.
Wow.
Yeah, that got me.
Wait, I thought he had a conversation. I was waiting for.
No, so what he's saying
I was waiting for a dead interaction.
I was
I know,
too.
I know.
Too.
I thought this was gonna be like a haunting. No, he goes privately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing. Wow, the movie trailer really, really tells you the movie's different than the movie.
I was very uncertain. I was like, I think these are wholesome, but what is this?
I was like, get ready for him to tell him.
That was that was 2015 YouTube titling strategy.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Wow.
That is so sweet.
What a very just complex and deep relationship. Yeah. You know, just how that whole thing was based off of, and just like everything that this guy is like feeling in terms of like, I mean, the relationship means a lot to him. That this all kind of came to be.
Yeah.
Also, it contains one of my favorite lines. We bonded as soon as they knew I bought a PS5. Yeah. That was my favorite.
That was really.
A PS5 can mend most relationships.
Put that right on the box.
Sony, your stepdaughter will think you're cool. So these comments here, someone said, all these damn onions all over the place.
Yeah.
You know.
Totally.
Someone said, from what you described about that man, he must be at peace to know that his wife and his daughter are in safe hands and loved the way they deserve to be. Cheers, mate. You're a good man, and you deserve this happiness for the effort you've put into yourself.
I was going to say, what a lovely kind of like tale of thinking that you are at your lowest and deserving of nothing, and yet life turns around and says, hey, you can grow from this. Here's some seeds, plant them, and do the right thing to watch them grow.
I like you.
It was just really nice because like I feel like, I mean, I definitely know that there are those human moments where you're just like, damn, am I like worthy of being forgiven and growing from this?
And it feels like he just is acknowledging so much that this family used to be a part of somebody else, or not belong, but used to have another person, and he is now. He's not taking the place of somebody, but it feels like he is always acknowledging the other person that used to be there.
Well, because there's love, but I think what this shows is like the ultimate respect.
It's respect,
which is so important, and he really respects them to the point where even if they don't know about it, he respects them.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
It is very, and I don't know if he knows how singular that can be in a person. Like what a trait, what a virtue that is on its own.
Well, especially considering so many stories we read on this show are about dads and stepdads who are garbage. And so to read someone whose heart is so in the right place is so nice.
And everything else there, just in regards to that relationship that he has with the daughter, I feel like that is all parts of the growing pains of coming into a family that's already been created.
And just good for grief. Like grief on behalf of both his partner and the daughter. Like I think so much of it is like not being in denial that something happened, right? And like holding space for that. Whether they want to do that or not. Like you just,
Yeah. One last comment here. I'm a widow in my 30s. We knew my husband was dying for 2 years due to cancer. Towards the end, one night he woke me crying, begging me to promise him that I would find someone to love/remarry because the thought of me spending the rest of my life sad and alone was tearing him apart. He couldn't bear to think of my life ending with his. It's been less than a year now since he's passed, and I can't imagine ever being ready to do so. But the point of my comment is to tell you your presence has been a gift to your wife and daughter. He wouldn't have wanted them to suffer alone. You honor him by loving and caring for them because he cannot.
Yeah, this is gonna destroy me because I can only imagine feeling that way and just like how big of a move that is to have to tell somebody that, and you want them to be happy.
this is fucking crazy that fucking idiots are on Reddit doing doing stupid shit.
Okay.
And then, no. On a site where idiots are on Reddit doing stupid shit, there's also this.
Yeah.
I know. Reddit has. Man, I've taken a break for a while, but I would scroll Reddit for a while, and I mean, the problem is you'd read this, followed up by something that infuriates you, followed up by something that's like a dumb meme. It's not, the human brain should not be processing.
The brain chemistry shifts.
My brain is like, what has happened on this day?
Thank you for giving me this curated Reddit experience.
Yes, we're giving you all the best parts of it. I feel like there's nothing else to say on that one. Here we go.
Okay.
So this is gonna be a doozy. This is gonna be a lot. Am I the asshole for being very harsh? It's a 36-year-old woman. My son, who's 14, has been acting out a lot. I'm trying to give him appropriate consequences, etc., but his father/my ex just undoes everything I try to implement. My ex, a 36-year-old man, doesn't care if our son does anything as long as it doesn't affect his athletic abilities, and it's created a cool dad and evil mom dynamic. Anyways, I had a mini vacation planned for the weekend. I have a family-owned house in this beach town, and my son and stepdaughters love going down there. The thing is, I got a call from my friend saying that her daughter is a mess because of my son. He asked the poor girl out, and when she said yes, he laughed at her and said some really cruel things. I was horrified. I asked him about it, and he rolled his eyes and told me that it was just a joke. When I tried telling him that these jokes hurt, he told me I was being ridiculous and that his dad and stepmom would think it's funny. He then said that he wishes I was as cool as his stepmom. I told him that I'm his mother and that my first priority is being his mom, not being cool. I then told him that we're no longer going to the beach house. He also has to apologize to the girl, and if he ever bothers her or any other girl again, then the consequences will be a lot worse. I then proceeded to drive him to the girl's house and made him apologize to the girl in front of her mom. He said he was sorry, and I also said it. I bought her a necklace and took the money for that from my son's allowance as well. The girl was a lot happier, and her mom said she appreciated the apology. While driving back home, my son started yelling at me and said that that was the most embarrassing thing he's ever had to do. I told him to imagine how the girl felt when he did that to her in front of everyone. He just said whatever and was like, "Can we go to the beach now?" I said no, we can't and we won't. He started yelling again and said that I was doing too much over a joke, and that if the girl accepted the apology, then why am I making things so difficult for him? He also said that since I embarrassed him, this was the least I could do. He later called my ex, who told me that I was a major asshole for being so harsh, and he more or less repeated what my son said. I don't think I'm the asshole in the slightest, but I see how I'm being harsh. Just wanted some perspective because my ex, his wife, and my son are begging me to reconsider and relax. Am I the asshole?
No.
No.
No, I think that she is totally getting ganged up on by them. And if her son is doing that, then he is just going to get worse towards women. And anyone. I mean, he's yelling at his, like, I don't know. That makes me pissed.
Yeah,
I just went through a dark hole, like, thinking about if I got married, you know, if I got, like, divorced and, you know.
You're with someone who was that bad.
And the stepmom was just like, yeah, just make fun of her in front of her.
I know. It's like so stepmom stereotype crazy in my head. It's like crazy.
That's psycho behavior, because that's that's like intentional, planned out, like shittiness.
Yeah.
A lot of comments here. Not the asshole. Way to be an awesome parent and hold your child accountable. I can definitely see why you split with from the ex. Like, in what world is it a joke to screw with another person's emotions like that? I would have done the same thing if I had kids. She responded, thank you. I'm really trying. I love my son and I don't want him to grow up thinking he can do whatever he wants to people. My ex, he actually cheated on me and that's why we split, but his attitude was definitely a huge factor as well. I'm not surprised by that.
No.
No, I'm just surprised. Oh, God, all of this must hurt for her.
I know, I feel this one deeply.
Not the asshole. Your ex probably taught him it was okay to treat women less than. There was a post yesterday, I think, about a single father who bought his young daughter flowers from a florist just because. His colleagues saw him and said he was wrong for creating unrealistic expectations. Your ex is like that colleague who doesn't understand how to treat women correctly, and he's blaming men who do treat women with respect for making getting women difficult for men like him. I'm guessing it has something to do with the reason he is your ex. He's also teaching his son not to treat women correctly. You did the absolute correct thing here.
Oh my God, in the indie movie version of this, we're being told both stories at the same time. Her marriage with said ex and the story of the son, and they're both happening at the same time. And while she's driving him to the kid's house to apologize, we're seeing the way that the son treated the kid similar to the dad treating her. And she's like, I won't raise my ex this way. And it's directed by Greta Gerwig.
Don't give up your movie idea.
She's gonna do that. Lady Bird 2.
Lady Bird 2.
Nuts. This is nuts.
Yeah, it's really sad. It does shock me. Like, it really does shock me. All right. We have an update.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh God, I have a feeling it's gonna break my heart.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hi, I just wanted to make this post before I move on. I kept my word, no beach house no matter what my ex, his wife, and my son said about me. It was hard and I broke down on Sunday because even though I know my son loves me and that he's just angry, hearing him say that he wishes I wasn't his mother over and over hurts a lot. Jesus Christ.
Whoa.
On Sunday, May 1st, after my breakdown, I told him that he can stay with his dad for the week. My ex was going to have him for the weekend anyways. So yeah, Sunday evening I took my son out. I wanted to try one more time to make him understand, tell him I love him, and that's why I'm being so strict. I took him to a park we used to go to, just him and I. I usually took him there when my ex and I would fight and he would leave us for days to see his sister.
Oh my God.
He was pretty moody the entire time and called me crazy for wanting to eat on the grass, lol, but he complied. I asked him if he remembered the spot, and he said yeah. I then talked to him about everything. I also reminded him that there is nobody in this world and beyond that I love more than him. He was silent the entire ride to his dad's house, and I thought I f***ed up until we arrived and he said, I love you too, Mom. It was so hard to keep the tears in. I had to take a break from driving home because of how emotional I was. Monday and Tuesday were calm and nothing out of the ordinary. Wednesday night was different. My husband and I were out while the girls were with my in-laws when I got a call from my son. He was quiet but asked if I could pick him up. I called my ex, who just told me that our son was being dramatic, but I was welcome to take him. It was obvious that he and his father had a pretty bad argument about something. I asked him what happened since ex kept telling me it was nothing. Turns out my ex cheated on his wife. His wife confronted him and brought up the fact that he cheated on me. My ex proceeded to insult me and call me names to her. My son heard everything and put it together. My son was distressed, and I really wish he didn't have to find out. Not like this. When we got home, my son collapsed in my arms and kept saying he was really sorry for everything. I managed to calm him down, and he fell asleep on the couch. I was stuck with him in the most uncomfortable position all night, but all I cared about at that moment was my son. I didn't know I could love and care for someone this much. I never planned on having children, so this was a huge concern of mine. But the love I have for my son is crazy. He's a bit awkward, which makes sense. 14-year-old boys don't normally burst into tears and not let their mothers out of their grasp, but it'll be fine. I know it'll be a very long road, but it'll be worth it. Thanks for being supportive.
I'm so deep in this one right now.
Yeah, I was not expecting that ending. I thought it was gonna get worse. Thought the son was gonna like kill someone.
That makes me want to cry.
I thought he was gonna cheat on everyone at school.
What? That's your indie movie talking. That's not real. That's your that's like season 2 of this indie.
No, it's not. No, it's. Oh my God, people are crying in the room. Oh my God. No, that's not the indie movie. This is the indie movie.
Oh, Anne.
No, I'm thinking I'm doing too much Reddit stories because I was blowing it out of the water. I was like, what's the worst version?
But it's so unbelievably sweet because it's like if she didn't have that talk with him, he wouldn't have understood that she was actually just trying to teach him morals.
And what
he had to learn the hard way, oh, this is what you were trying to teach me,
Yeah, and what she was trying to teach him wasn't cool, right? And what the other household stood for, the cool thing, wore off, and he got to see it, literally.
Well, it was a facade.
Yeah,
oh, this is a facade. This is all fake.
That his dad was just cheating and didn't respect women.
And also by proxy doesn't care about his son.
Calling him dramatic, calling people crazy.
Being like,
again, projecting. Yeah. I mean, his dad must be in a lot of pain. That's what I'm thinking. Oh my gosh.
The dad's a piece of shit. And also, I guess the stepmom knew that the dad cheated on her and then was shocked when he cheated on her as well. It's you can see a pattern there.
But that's what's so crazy about cheating and deception, lying and all this stuff. It's just that there's a scary generational part where it's you grow up watching people lie or you don't, and you see how that is navigated in the home, and that's touchy and hard. Mm-hmm. And the way that mother handled it was fucking badass.
She pushed past her pride and her pain and just said what she felt, which was I love you. This is what's important. And I don't think if she did that, I think that he would have felt really alone and not called her. Mm-hmm. I think she opened up the door for him to be vulnerable.
Well, she showed she cared so much. She cares about him, but she's really trying to communicate with him.
And she's that's what I mean, how it's it works for all ages. Like stopping him at school from doing that is stopping the habit from it becoming that's what I mean, and her having that talk and making him do that really uncomfortable thing probably stops that uncomfortable feeling and making that a comfortable thing that his dad probably started young, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
yeah, I mean at 14 hopefully he will not turn out like his dad.
Because of that really influential part came.
Yeah.
I was so deep into that. Of course, make him sit on the grass.
And have that moment that he'll remember for the rest of his life where your mom is I want you to know that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want you to remember how awful it felt when we drove all the way back and you apologized.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because the dad has no empathy.
Yeah.
Doesn't ever do that.
Because no one took the time
to
feel like that. Because she felt awful when she did that.
And it's kind of what I talked about earlier. If you don't reconcile, if you don't look inward and deal with these things that you do kind of lose your soul more and more.
And you pass it on.
Yeah. And you teach that behavior of no empathy. It's really sad, and it's probably a very lonely life, frankly, that dad is living. To just not care about anyone, that is a loveless life.
He's the one who loses in this story.
Oh, absolutely. He's gonna end up with nobody. He'll be 70 and there's gonna be nobody in his life.
Correct.
That's just what happens.
And his son is not gonna want to go visit him or hang out.
There was one comment here. Former 14-year-old butthead here, divorced home and all the fun stuff.
Butthead.
Great job, mama. I'm 36 now with a 1.5-year-old of my own, 1.5-year-old of my own. My mom fighting my ignorance, bullheadedness, peacocking, and all the other nonsense I put her through has made me a much better man. Boy, did we have our blowouts. I am so close with her now, talk with her daily, send her pictures of her grandson. She recently moved across the country to be closer to us, and I couldn't be happier. I can't say how smooth the rest will be for you, but I have faith you and him will have a stronger bond for all of this. Yeah.
Okay, this makes me want to cry.
Don't let the dam break.
I felt it welling, and now I'm
Am I the asshole for not wanting my fiance to dance to a love song dedicated to her late fiance at our wedding? Before we met, my fiance Kayla was engaged to a man she had dated for 3 years, who died in a traffic accident. I had never dated a woman who had had that kind of loss before, so I've been learning as I go, but I've tried to respect that he will always be a part of her story. I accepted her relationship with her late fiance's parents with open arms. They stayed very close, and by the time we started dating, they were basically like a second set of parents to her. Kayla's real parents and her late fiance's parents are all amazing people, so I consider myself pretty lucky to have 2 sets of great in-laws. Our wedding is coming up in May, and Kayla told me that after her father-daughter dance, she would like to have a second dance with her late fiance's father to the song Vanilla Twilight. She asked me if I was comfortable with that, and since I didn't want to be that guy, and say no, I said yes. But really, it makes me uncomfortable that she would be dancing to a love song dedicated to another man at our wedding. I am happy to make space in our lives for his memory. We have a photo of him on our mantle at home, and we make it a point to commemorate his birthday and the anniversary of his death. I feel like I am understanding and supportive when she has bad days, and am 100% fine with having his parents at the wedding because, like I said, we are all a family. But I also feel like our wedding is one day. That should be all about our relationship. Am I the jerk if I ask her to reconsider this dance? What are the best compromises here? That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's real heavy.
I'll say I think what he's doing is really hard to champion for yourself in a space that is not it's not about you in that story in that time of her life. But his wedding is also about him. That's hard. That's really hard.
It's a difficult.
It's so tough, and grief is, as we see from these stories, like grief is just so different in every situation. So how people go about it is so different.
Yeah, because also if you don't speak up, he could be. You don't want someone just like not being fully honest in your relationship if something makes you uncomfortable.
That lack of communication can build resentment, and then 5 years down the line, suddenly there's no respect.
Yeah.
Weddings are also like weddings, you know?
Yeah.
They're like
all,
a big...
Weddings are so weddings.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So the verdict was not the asshole. Comments here, not the asshole. You might want to honestly ask her to sit down and reconsider if she is ready to be married to someone else, though. She still sounds very much invested in this other man, whether he is alive or not, and she just doesn't sound ready to commit to another person. Ask her if she is truly ready to commit or she is just honestly doing it because she thinks she should or it will help her move on. OP responded, I guess it sounds like he is constantly on her mind because I only wrote 2 paragraphs that were wholly focused on this issue, but it has been about 7 years since he died, and I think she has processed her grief in a healthy way and doesn't dwell on it. We have our own inside jokes and our hobbies and our own hobbies and experiences that are unique to us. I can truly say I'm marrying my favorite person in the world. We are each other's absolute best friend. I don't have any illusions that our life together will entail her forgetting about her late fiance, nor would I want that. 2 anniversaries a year and a photo really don't represent a significant portion of her thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, you know.
I don't know what to say. You know, I think it is tough, as this comment like clearly demonstrates. We have so little to work off of that it's hard to know like the real situation with their relationship. But the good news is we have an update.
Hey, I love that. I want stuff that says update, like a hat, and I want you to be like,
or a shirt or something.
Merch.
2 months ago, I married the love of my life. I was thinking about this thread the other day, how it went, and where my head was at when I made it, and I thought you guys might like an update. A little anticlimactically, the thing I was stressing about was a bit of a miscommunication, which probably happens a lot here. Kayla wanted to dance with her late fiance's, I'll go ahead and just call him Luke from now on, father at our wedding, and Vanilla Twilight was an example of a song along the lines of what she wanted, not the set in stone top choice like I had thought. I, and a lot of other commenters in the original thread, spent a lot of time overanalyzing the lyrics to that song, looking for hidden meaning in every word. It turns out she hadn't put much more thought into the suggestion than, this is a kind of sad song that I like. We got together that night, and she had made several playlists of possible first dance songs for us, songs for when she walks down the aisle, music to play at the reception, and song choices for her dance with Luke's father. We spent hours listening to them all and talking about the wedding. We even made a tournament-style bracket for our first dance song in her journal and put songs head-to-head against each other until the victor emerged. And at the end, we talked about the wedding, our relationship, Luke and their relationship, and grief. We talked about what it was like when she lost him, and what it was like for me when I lost my mom at a young age, what a family is, and all the things we're hopeful for in the future. We stayed up until 3 in the morning, just talking and planning and laughing and crying a little, and I'm so glad for it. After getting bombarded by dozens of different opinions from dozens of different people earlier that day, I had been worried that I was going to have a conflict with my fiancé shortly before our wedding, but there was no conflict, just pure memory. After that night, I started putting in more effort to be involved with the wedding planning process. I actually asked for things I wanted, which Kayla actually really appreciated. We also took a long weekend a couple of weeks before the wedding to go on a camping trip together, just the two of us, which I highly recommend to anyone who is getting married. Overall, there was a complete flip in my feelings leading up to the wedding, from being somewhat insecure and excited but nervous, to being completely at ease, excited, and feeling stronger in my relationship than ever. The wedding day itself was really wonderful and worth the wait. Kayla and Luke's father had their dance to Lean on Me, and I also had a dance with Kayla's mom, and it was very emotional in a good way. I really felt that the day was a celebration for our love. I was genuinely happy that Luke's parents were there to celebrate along with us, because they are very much members of our family, and I wish I had the space to describe all the ways they've been there for us through the years. My amazing wife is who she is because of all the experiences that she has had in her life. I don't want to be the kind of man who asks her to pretend that she has never loved before me, or pretend that her grief should be over forever now that she has me. I just want to say how glad I am that we shared that night together and that the wedding was nothing but love and celebration. I never thought I could be so happy. Damn.
We're both.
Well, I'm like, they're ready.
Yeah.
They're sitting.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, it's so sweet.
That is the sweetest. it's like next level.
Oh, us. Both like, but we're crying.
Oh my gosh. What I also love about this that I was going to say before is that, like, he didn't make any assumptions about how she feels. And I feel like on this, we see this a lot where it's like someone goes, this is how I feel. I feel threatened by this. It must mean that she's not over it, and it must mean that she's not into me, or it must mean this. And he didn't put any words in her mouth or tell her how she feels at all. He just was like, this is how I feel based off of her behavior. So I'm gonna take a moment to check back in. And that is maturity.
Yes, it is. It's awesome.
Yeah, this is emotional intelligence on the max level. There's one comment here, and it is not of that caliber.
Okay, because it's Reddit.
Yeah, and we're back.
And we're back to Reddit stories.
Someone commented, I mean, if Luke hadn't passed away, your wife would be with him. OP responds to this. This line of thinking has never bothered me because it can be applied to so many other situations. All of life is millions of branching paths of choices that we do and do not make. It doesn't bother me to think that my wife would be with Luke if he hadn't died because, well, he has died, so that is not the situation. And it is only because that happened that my wife became the person I fell in love with. I have an ex-partner who I was very much in love with years ago, but we split up due to circumstances beyond either of our control. If that hadn't happened, then there's a good chance I would be married to her instead. But that's not the situation. That doesn't diminish the love that I have for my wife. And my wife, having lost someone very dear to her, doesn't diminish the love she has for me.
Me and who?
That guy makes that comment like, well, you know, your wife would probably be with him. And I see the clouds parting and him with like a golden aura around him, like, yes, but.
As OP, I'll say this.
Wow, this guy's incredible.
This guy's incredible.
Good for Kayla.
All these families are incredible. Everyone here is good people.
I'd say so.
I think that just about sums it all up. Yeah. Today I fucked up by donating $15,041 to a poor community in Bangladesh instead of the $150 donation I intended. Okay. This happened in February of last year, but my friends have been telling me I need to post this online. So here goes nothing. My wife and I, both 31 years old at the time, moved into a new 3-unit apartment building in San Francisco. One of our neighbors is a 70-something-year-old retired veteran. We'll call him Joe. For context, Joe is a white American guy, and he's also a devout Hindu priest. One day I run into Joe in the hallway, and he tells me about this charity he manages for a community in Bangladesh. I wanted to support my neighbor and the charity, so I asked Joe to send me the GoFundMe link. The next day at work, I go on the GoFundMe page and donate $150. Or so I thought. Moments later, I get a text on my phone warning me of an unusually large transaction on my credit card. I'm confused and swipe to open the text message. It says I have made a payment of $15,041 to GoFundMe. Immediately, I'm sweating. How could I have donated $15,000? I spend the next 10 to 15 minutes retracing my steps, and finally I realize my credit card starts with the numbers 4 and 1. It seems I had accidentally started typing my credit card information while my cursor was still in the donation box. And just like 150 became 150.41. Yikes. I call GoFundMe's support line in a panic, and when I finally connect with a human, I explain what happened. No need to worry, he tells me. They will initiate a refund of the transaction, which should process in 3 to 7 business days. That's a huge relief. But then I ask the agent if the charity will be able to see the donation on the GoFundMe page until it is refunded. What do you mean? The agent asked me. What do you mean? What do I mean? Was my response. Will they be able to see the $15,041 donation? Unfortunately, yes, the agent tells me. They will be able to see it until the refund process is complete. I tell them that's a big problem, as the entire GoFundMe had hardly raised that much at that point. Surely they will notice their fundraiser doubling overnight. My plan was to knock on Joe's door the following morning to give him the full story, so that he could pass it along to his contacts in Bangladesh. But when I woke up the next morning, I looked at my phone and saw I had 40+ notifications on Facebook. Someone had sent me a friend request, had liked many of my old posts, and had sent me many messages. Immediately, I was concerned when I saw that the individual messaging me had a Hindu name, but I never could have imagined what I saw when I opened his first message. The man had sent me a video of himself from Bangladesh, surrounded by dozens... Hold on, this is so rough. Okay. The man had sent me a video of himself from Bangladesh, surrounded by dozens of impoverished and hungry people holding bags of food, thanking me by name, Michael, for my generous donation. A big round of applause for Michael. At this point, I've leapt out of my bed and I'm pacing. Part of me wants to scream, part of me wants to crack up laughing. I start swiping through the man's messages, and it is picture after picture after picture of poor Bangladeshis thanking me for my kind donation. Literally hundreds of photos of frail, elderly, disabled, and malnourished individuals holding signs with my name. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. I've uploaded a portion of the video and a few photos for you guys to see here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because this is an insane situation to be stuck in. Okay. So,
oh my God.
So he sees the direct impact that this makes. Needless to say, I couldn't live with myself just donating $150 after seeing how the community responded to $15,041. I decided the least I could do was to add a zero, and so I donated $1,500 once the original donation was refunded. The charity's host was incredibly gracious and understanding, and he explained to me that $1,500 goes very far in Bangladesh for urgent food relief. Here is the charity's new GoFundMe link if you want to check it out. Ultimately, I think the whole experience was a win-win. I helped a great cause, and I got a funny story out of it. Okay, so to recap, he got it refunded, but then he donated $1,500.
Okay.
But
I don't know. I feel like I would have to find a way to get the 15,000 and just eat it. Just eat it. Because
I don't know. The problem is I don't know this guy's financial situation.
No, right, exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
he's got 15,000 to deposit.
He's got 15,000.
No, that could have been like, I mean, I get it, but like.
It could have been everything. If that was everything, it's like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't
I
take
think
it
I would ask friends and family and just eat it.
Some comments here. Best post on here in ages. Thank you for the great story and for helping out those folks. $1,500 is still very generous. Man, this got me good. I hope you didn't get behind on bills or anything after this mix-up. I will say, the fact that his original intention was $150.
Which is still a great donation.
So he still times that by 10 and still big deal.
Yeah.
Someone said, holy shit, man, that put a pit in my stomach just reading. I can't imagine how you felt. LOL. Shit happens. Glad your neighbor was understanding and good for you for going the extra mile. Watch this post blow up and a shit ton of Redditors donate. That would be awesome. Someone else said, oh man, what a ride. I'd feel horrible. I hope Reddit comes through and helps. I'll throw in a few bucks and maybe others will too. There's a GoFundMe link. We can see...
oh my God.
So he posted
it's like surpassed.
He posted it to Reddit, and this went viral. So, okay. So, their goal, they're at 93K, raised of a 108K goal. So.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Wait, that's amazing.
Not gonna cry. Not gonna cry.
Seriously. What a wonderful, wonderful thing that this like hilarious story
It actually
has
ended
brought.
up being better that this all happened and he posted it. And
What? Gonna cry.
Stop.
I'm not gonna cry.
Stop. Stop. We're talking about assholes.
I had to look away, like seeing the photo and everything. I'm like,
So sweet.
Yeah, the photos. And you know that they were not going to be upset if he was just like, crazy story, I had to refund it.
yeah.
They were
the
obviously
fact that they
going
were
to be
so
like,
cool.
of
They're like,
course.
oh man,
I love
it's
that they all have
good.
a thing. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. It's you know, that sounds like a plot line for The Office. Like Michael Scott would accidentally do that and be like, I have to bring it back without while still being cool. So there's an update as of literally a couple weeks ago. Thanks for your kindness. Our ability to bring relief to others has multiplied many, many times. It is unbelievable. We've been struggling over the past several months, yet in the last 24 hours, over 1,800 donations have been received at GoFundMe, the largest single day in our history. We're astounded at the support we have seen, and this totally helps our effort. Kindly take a moment and share our campaign with friends, coworkers, and gentle souls. This will help us extend our reach to more people more often. As of right now, of reading this, it's not far off from their goal, but we'll post the link down below and check it out.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
That was super meaningful of that guy to think of putting the link in there as well.
I know,
of just
it
sharing
really...
this.
It really turned out well. And he, you know, on Reddit, you don't know if someone's going to go viral or not.
So basically, it's almost like he did eat the money almost, but didn't have to.
Yeah.
know what I mean?
It all, see what he should have thought of. Should have said all this. Posted, this all goes viral, tons of donations, and then he retracts it silently. You know,
Yeah.
He's like,
He's like, I got my 1,500 back.
This is one of the coolest stories we've ever read.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
very
we'll post the link.
heartwarming.
We'll post the link. You can be part of it too.
Please.
You know,
Cool story.
So heartwarming.
right.
Wow.
that was the sweetest story we've ever read. I, female 18, realized all the sacrifices my older brother, 25, made for us. This is from True Off My Chest. A lot of those. Just a quick trigger warning, there's referencing of parental abuse in this, so here we go. Created this account just for this story. Also, I want to keep in mind that I'm sharing this story from my perspective and from what my brother told me, so I don't know how much is completely accurate. But I also don't have a reason to doubt the accuracy. Me and my siblings grew up in a highly abusive environment. Besides my older brother, I have two younger siblings, a younger brother and a younger sister. Our parents were addicted to alcohol, they would drink every day, and it was like a forced round of Russian roulette. We either had luck and they would just argue downstairs with each other, or they would come upstairs to release their anger onto us. Whenever they did, my older brother would stand guard at the stairs to make sure we were safe. He would try to make them focus on him, so whenever they came upstairs, they would physically unleash on him. And when they tried to enter any of our rooms, he would provoke them so they would focus on him and hurt him until they were too tired to focus on us. While he protected us from them, he sacrificed his own childhood. And instead of doing something he liked, he educated himself and learned how to do programming each and every single day. He knew that something from the IT and programming sector would get him a high-paying job, and his goal was to get out of there and take us with him. But to take care of us, he needed money. He also never had friends at school because he saw friends as a waste of time for his goals, let alone the fact that he never properly finished his education because he was more worried about us than his own future. When he was 18, he did an internship for a local IT office that was looking for employees, and after a few weeks, he got the job and he was making good money. After he moved out, he found an apartment with enough space for all of us, and from that day on, he tried everything to get us out of there. After my brother was gone, we had to take on a lot, but at least we didn't have to wait for long. After my parents got arrested, we started to live with my brother. He had to do a bit more stuff so that my younger siblings could live with us too, but he somehow managed to convince authorities to let them stay with us. I will never understand where he got all this energy from to do all this. I was still underage when we continued to live with him. But in his new job, he made enough money to make sure we had it good, and he finally gave us the loving and caring home we craved for such a long time. I adore him so much. He was so selfless all the time and rather took care of us than himself. Yesterday, something happened that made me want to share this story. I woke up and went to get some breakfast, and when I passed my brother's door, I heard him crying in his room. I knocked at his door and went inside, and the moment he saw me, he wiped away his tears and smiled. He asked if I was all right. I didn't feel the need to answer. I just hugged him. I felt so sorry for him. He sacrificed everything so that we were safe. He couldn't hold in his tears any longer, and I told him that he should probably go to therapy because what he went through would be way too much to handle for anyone. I adore him so much, and I will forever be grateful for every sacrifice he made for us. He did not deserve any of the things our parents put him through. We, as a whole, never deserved what our parents put us through. They were supposed to be a safe space for all of us, but instead they were abusers. I will help my brother, and I will make sure he feels loved too. He deserves to have a safe space too. He wants to be ours, so I want to be his. Thank you for reading. Damn.
Gosh, dude.
Oof.
I mean, that is very wholesome. You do see a lot of these kids who have their childhoods taken away from them at such an early age. But God bless him for doing that, and also for him to also get his siblings out, and now his siblings to be there for him. That the ones he truly loved and wanted to protect.
He saved his siblings in more ways than one, too, because he saved them physically. But I think he also saved them by being a loving authority figure for them.
Yeah, by not
so
being
that they
hardened.
have something. So he broke the cycle for all of them, which is so cool.
That's so true.
At least, I don't know these people, but
it sounds
most
like he broke the
he gave them such a better chance in every way possible.
Like to just give them like a light at the end of the tunnel sort of thing.
I mean, truly.
For both of them.
It sounds like a friggin' superhero origin.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of comments here. Someone said, "Oh my God, somebody cutting onions in here." The same guy from earlier, be like, all these onions.
Somebody needs to get him out of that room of onions.
Yeah, man, we got to save that guy.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Lucky you all are to have that wonderful man as your brother. Let him know how much you appreciate him and love him, but also let him know it wasn't fair and it's okay to have feelings about the position he's been put in. I hope that you are all able to find a therapist that can help you untangle this mess. I'm so sorry you were put in this mess, but incredible that you all got out and are doing well. Hugs to you all."
Yeah, I have to imagine that after so many years of having to fight for that, you have a trauma that doesn't leave you as soon as you get to the safe place.
Yeah.
Like you're still in this like potential defensive mode for a very long time, and it's hard to break that shell down. So I love that she encouraged him to be like, let's go to therapy, work through this.
And I'm grateful that she saw it and sees it and says something, because I feel like with sacrifice, the worst thing that could come if it's not noticed sometimes is bitterness.
Yep.
Like if it goes on for too long, he can harden and just like kind of just, I don't know, if it's not really noticed or thanked, or I don't know. There is some sacrifice that goes without being noticed, and sometimes it's okay. But I feel like for him to keep living the life he's living, he needs to be able to break down in front of her, and he needs to be able to be taken care of as well.
Yeah.
It's so important to communicate, because in our own heads, delusion is often used as like a negative way, but like we can get delusional in our own heads of thinking like I'm alone. Or thinking, oh, nobody cares about me. And it's just like, no, you're being delusional. You're wrong. You actually have a network. And it's important to really stay in reality with everyone in your life.
Yeah. I can imagine that's the good things that can come out of these Reddit stories, because people can put these down here so they can see that they are not alone.
Yeah.
And I do know people who have dealt with real inter-family struggles and do sacrifices for their siblings, and their siblings do not acknowledge.
That's what I was gonna say, is like, especially people who, who are just like, I don't know, been going through it. And and they're just like one thing to the next, one thing to the next. Especially maybe some of the younger kids. They might not see it, they might not notice it. Especially when you're raised by a warrior brother like that, who's just like, oh yeah, my brother's just strong.
And I don't know the ages of the younger siblings, but that seems like it might be more her job to tell them the situation that they're in.
Yeah.
Someone said, your brother is a goddamn superhero. I rarely ever cry while reading a story, but this was fucking awesome to read, and I got a bit misty-eyed, not gonna lie. I say, when you get the chance, pay to take him out for some sort of childish adventure, something that will allow him to live a little of that childhood he missed out on, before he gets too old to actually enjoy it, LOL. OP responded to that saying, I actually thought about doing this. His birthday is in a month, and I thought about giving him a bit of the childhood he never had. So an update. So let's see what happens here. My post is 3 months old, but I thought I might give you an update just in case you're interested. So in the last 3 months, I got a job and started to earn money myself. I wanted to take some weight off his shoulders and take care of the many things so that he doesn't have to. After everything he went through, he deserves a break. And I try to make sure he learns to take care of his mental health, which is still pretty bad after everything that happened. I honestly underestimated how bad it was and still is. I think that this shield he created to protect himself through the years of trauma is now starting to crumble. All the emotions he's held back and all of the pent-up pain is coming up, and emotional breakdowns have been happening quite a bit. He's in therapy, but it will take a while for him to feel better. You see, my younger siblings and I were traumatized too, but at least we were kept safe enough by him so that we could express and let our emotions out.
Yeah.
He never had that safe space. He had to bottle up everything. It's a good thing that now he has us as his safe space, but I just don't know if it's enough. He is the most important person in our life, and we will always be there for him. We make sure every day that he's loved. I mentioned in the previous post that his birthday was in a month. On that day, we got him a birthday cake and some presents. We celebrated with him. It was wonderful. I know I probably talked too much about him, but I feel so bad that everything that happened to him came from him protecting us. I can't stop feeling guilty, or that I at least should have interfered way earlier. He assured me it's not my fault, and I know that, but it's hard to describe. Imagine you're about to walk across the street and a car is about to hit you because you didn't look both ways, but someone pushes you aside to save you, getting hit themselves. Now this person is permanently injured, and you can't stop feeling guilty, because you know the person probably would have been okay if you had just paid attention earlier. That's how I feel. All I know is that I will be there for him. That's the least I can do.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. And I think the metaphor there is tough because you didn't step into that road willingly and without thought.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's very natural for one to blame.
You were
themselves.
young.
Were young. You're a kid. No kid should have to worry about that. No kid. So I think there's definitely a cycle of blame that happens. And the cool thing about that update, I feel, is just that they are currently working on it. They're currently getting the help, and I think the fact that like those defenses are coming down and that he's able to talk about it is all one can ask for at this time.
Yeah.
And I think it is going to be a long process.
Yeah, because you know where the long-standing issues can come up is if you keep bottling it up, but he can't, and he is accepting the possibility, or is he in therapy? I forget if but it just sounds like this is he's in therapy. Yes. Yeah. So they are doing the best possible things they can do to move forward.
Wow.
Sibling shit makes me cry.
Yeah. And you know, look, bringing up all these other Reddit stories we always read, we often read about siblings who are not there for each other.
Right.
And that happens a surprising amount.
Yeah.
And these are siblings who really all stuck together, and it's so cool.
Yeah, so sweet.